Welcome. I am Johnny Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Shaka Williams, and we are TSARE. This is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. Wait a minute. This for your mama. We have Kashaka Williams in the house.
Yep.
So sorry.
Kashaka.
Why
Should
is
be
it
pissed
for your
off.
mama? Oh, because you be saying your name wrong?
Yeah. I mean, it's not wrong. It's my actual name, but yeah.
Y'all remember like after we recorded the first episode, he was like, "No, just call me Shaka."
Oh, okay. Then your mama wants your real name.
Yeah.
That's how I be feeling when
That's
people
the
call
name?
August just August. I be like, his name is August Son. They be
Oh,
like,
okay.
that's one of his teachers. Look, his teacher was like, for some reason, August keeps on writing Son on his paper. Yeah, it's because that's his name.
That's his name.
So I feel
She's a
it.
horrible teacher.
Yeah, horrible teacher.
How the
The
hell
more
she
I
didn't
teach
get the
you,
roster?
see,
His name ain't on the roster?
the more I teach you, the dumber I get.
Like he got two first names, like John David. Denzel Washington's son. Y'all know him?
Yeah.
I didn't
I'm
know his
just
name was
saying.
John David.
John
but
David.
Yeah, I seen him before.
Yeah.
He got a good
Anyways.
movie.
What's the movie?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like
couple
they in
good-
the desert
Couple
or some
good
shit.
movies. Yeah.
All right, so pros and cons of the BRRRR. Buy,
The BRRRR method.
rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, and then rents.
Repeat.
I'm like,
Just repeat. Where you get rents from?
right. She said
Rents when you lose your money, you got rent
Right.
stop.
You gotta rinse- you rinsing
you done
that.
made so much money, you got to go rinse
Rinse
it.
Oh, God.
So Reggie,
That's the Gucci man
explain
BRRRR
what
when you
that
got
BRRRR
clean that
is.
money.
Explain those.
That's when you buy a property, right? You put it together, you rehab it, you rent it out, then you refinance. You get your money back, and then you
Hopefully.
repeat. Yeah,
Huh?
that's what we're gonna talk
Hopefully.
about. But the goal is to never. Ideally, the way it's taught is you never take more than 70% of the equity out. The theory behind that is if the market was to get soft, then at least you won't lose all your equity. You can still cover your expenses based on the rental amounts. Because one thing we know from when the market crashed up until today, rental rates never went down.
Is that true?
Yeah, like if you was renting in Oak Park for $850 back then, we didn't see rents go down for that same house to like $650, $700.
So I was renting in
Because-
Pontiac for $1,000, and that shit dropped.
It probably
love.
dropped for your, but think about it.
I see what you're saying.
When people went into foreclosure, they ain't have a choice but to rent.
Mm-hmm.
So your
Nah.
tenants that were renting, it brought more tenants into the market.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this from my experience with myself and other investors I know. When they had rental properties during that time, nobody needed to reduce their rents to attract tenants.
The rent just wasn't okay. So I'll give you an example because you know the area. So let's
Right.
say the 20,000 block of like Glastonbury. That's where you got them brick bungalows and
Right.
ranches. Used to be highly desirable for a person that's a
Grandma?
little dirty ghetto kid. No,
Rosedale?
it's like 8 Mile in Southfield.
Oh,
Well,
that's not
what-
Rose. What is that? Oh, that's on the. Yeah, what
That's
is
like
that?
it's just 8 Mile in Southfield. They
So
have
you-
a legal description, but I don't know the name.
But see, you
But wait.
I know what you're about
Because
to say.
historically, I would say when those houses are in like prime shape, nothing going on in the market, it's just like a flat, smooth market where it's thriving, you probably gonna be between like what $950 and $1,150.
Right.
But during the recession, we probably couldn't even get $750 or $800 in that area because of how dilapidated it gotten.
Yeah, but we talking about a stable area because you wouldn't have did a BRRRR in that type of
But
area.
nowhere was
I had
stable.
like 3 properties over there, and
There wasn't a
I
lot
know,
of stable
but you-
areas and rental areas when the market
But
crashed.
here's what
hindsight is 2020.
Well, let me tell you, with those type of areas, what brought the rental rates down was because you had people that had homes that they paid, say $80,000 for. They had mortgages on them, so they couldn't afford to rent it for anything less. Then you had people coming in buying them for $20,000, $30,000 cash. Then all they needed was $750, right? So that would have brought the rental rates down.
Mm-hmm.
But then that first wave of investors was like, oh, people over here paying $850, let's charge $850.
Mm-hmm.
It took a while, but that quickly changed because the market rebounded so quick. Nobody was buying houses for $20,000 or $30,000. That was even short-lived for those areas.
Shit, dog, we was buying houses for $20,000, $30,000 from
But I'm saying-
2009 all the way to like
Yeah,
12,
but what I'm saying,
14.
though, but
15,
this is
yeah,
what
I
I'm
would say at
saying,
least
though.
14.
Well, this is what I'm saying. From my experience, The people that came in and brought them for 20 or 30, they came in like, oh, I don't have to rent for $850. I can rent it for $750. When they seen people was paying $850, and then you got to think of all the people that lost their home to foreclosure had to go rent because they couldn't buy. They like, oh, I got 50. It's like highest and best. I got 15 applicants for this house. Why would I only charge $750 when I can get $850?
I got a different outlook on that. So I hear you, but so you got to remember in that market, it wasn't homeowners losing their homes mainly. It was mainly straw buyers losing
in certain areas. It was some homeowners out there losing.
Yes, it was a lot of homeowners losing homes.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was the straw. So it was people that never even lived in these homes in the first place.
Right.
That were losing their homes.
And they was losing their homes because they took the equity out and didn't give.
Yeah.
Which is why
we're talking about the BRRRR.
Right.
Yeah. We talk about the pros and the cons of the BRRRR. But so I hear you, and I didn't do the research to argue anything that you said, but based on my experience, so I did the BRRRR. BRRRR wasn't even a fucking term; they just made this up, right? So
just
I don't want to be a
wholesaler.
BRRRR hater, but I hate
Everybody was
hearing
burned.
it. Right?
I mean, not everybody, but
Yeah, but I'm saying people been doing this since real estate from forever.
People
Right?
been-
act like
but
it's
you talking
brand
about
new.
Oak Park? I feel like Oak Park has like increased by like 200% in rental rate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Since when?
when the market crashed, Oak Park rental rates was
probably
not
over the last 5-6 years.
people was not dropping their rent by $100, $200 in that area.
Well, people didn't own the houses to rent them, so we had an opposite.
No, I'm talking about I'm taking that area for example. People that did own rental properties there, when the market crashed, they didn't have a need to reduce. There was no lack of tenants that wanted to rent in Oak Park for them to have to reduce their rental rates.
I want to respond to this.
In that area, that may have been the case. The area you talked about.
I think you're right.
But I'm saying on average,
hold on, I want to respond to that. So okay. So when this is what occurred, right? So okay, I use me. I'm gonna use myself. I can't speak for nobody else. But all right, I have a house and I have $120,000 mortgage. And by the way, people, we talking about double-digit interest rates then, right? While everybody talking about interest rates are high as hell right now, which is why I hate it. Right? I hate the news. But so we're talking about double-digit interest rates then. So on a $120,000 mortgage, you down there paying $1,000, $1,100 a month, right? The majority of your neighborhood in those price points are rentals, right?
Right.
Not homeowners. So then when those investors like myself are running to that situation where they feel the property value is less than what they owe on that house. Right. So they walk away.
Yeah, if they can't get the tenants to keep paying.
Because the problem is a lot of those people, those tenants weren't strong tenants in the first. They were just like the buyers that was buying right at that time. They weren't strong. Right. So now because people didn't have jobs and shit. Right. This is a real thing. This is all the things that contributed to this crash. Right. But now, why the hell am I going to pay you $1,000 a month when I can go get my tax refund check for $12,000, add another $5,000 to it, and go buy this house?
That's true.
Because you was able to buy that house then for $20,000 or less.
Right, but but you was also competing against other investors that had cash before you even got your refund check.
Same for them.
And now those investors, what I'm saying is those investors that came in, if they seen you was able to charge $1,200, they may come in and try $1,200. If they can't get it, they'll drop it to $1,100, right?
Most of them investors would do a percentage, though.
And how many people that were owner occupants actually bought those properties? Most of those properties were bought by investors.
Well, look, you're talking about bad investors. So look, bad investors would try that. Like a bad investor would say, "Hey, I got this house for $20,000. I'm about to charge you $1,200." Good investors that wanted to be in this thing long term, they understood how to keeping that tenant in there.
So they would
was more
charge
important.
$1,000.
They
right?
charge no, like $700-800.
$850.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
$850,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What is that house renting for now?
Shit.
Oh shit, that's
$1,200.
$1,600.
That when you
But
talking about
this is what I'm saying though. The percentage, whatever, and every area is different. But whatever the percentage of home values, whatever that percentage drop is for that area, the rental rate didn't drop by the same percentage.
I would love. So we got to do
Hey,
a
I got a
show where
question.
we're bringing that data. In,
I got a
'cause
question.
I
I'll
don't
bring
know
the
it.
data.
I don't
So
know
let's
it.
go back to BRRRR real
I was about to say,
quick,
what we talking
Okay.
about?
We're talking about the BRRRR. Well, this is part of the BRRRR. So this is part of the potential negative of the BRRRR.
Yeah.
So we on top.
So the idea is you want to have at least 30% equity in case the market soften up. And you have to have a strategy based on what your expenses are going to be, because you refinancing, you pulling your money back out. So let's say you buy a house, $40,000, you put, I don't know, 20 into it, 60,000, but maybe it's worth 100. You pull your 60 back out, you got 40,000 in equity. Use that 60 and go buy another property,
Yep,
right?
that's
And do the
repeat.
same thing over. But now you keep having this lump sum of money you keep doing it with. But let's say your payment is, I don't know, $400 a month, $300 a month or whatever, right? But you're in an area where the rental rates are $900. So you got cash flow coming in on top of that. And there's enough cushion to cover if you lose a tenant for a couple months. And now you multiplying it, you got several properties. You lose one tenant, you still got these other properties coming in. And it all makes sense until it goes wrong.
Right. And most of that came from, I know you saying that the idea is the 70%, but the lender kind of enforced that on us.
Yeah.
Because at one point you could get 100%.
Exactly.
You could get 100% on a investment property,
Yeah.
on a refi.
But
Now
now,
they up to 90 now.
You know what I'm saying?
but the way the BRRRR method is taught to by most people is never take out 100% equity, because it'll protect you, because you still need that cushion there. Now the problem is people don't follow that advice. Oh, you gonna give me a whole 100,000? Only got 60 into it.
Shit.
Let's talk to the pros and cons of that. Let's
Right.
talk about the
But
pros
okay,
and
now
cons
I
of
want
that.
to talk about the pro. So I understand there's a con, but this is it's my thought. Why would I leave the money in there to have values drop and now I can't get that money out?
Facts. And I think
I
that's
agree.
the smart investor. I ain't gonna lie.
But I agree, because here's the thing. It just depends on your tolerance for risk, right? It also has more to do with, most people only gonna buy one or two properties. If they max them out, they use it like an ATM, they got all the money. Most people are not gonna use that money to reinvest in the other properties, right? And keep repeating. Most people gonna stop at one or two. The issue with that is you pulled out 100% market crash, you got the money in your pocket, then most people going to do what? Walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah, that's
Right.
because of their mindset and like the lack of care about the land. Because
Right.
the people who don't follow that, where they just like walk away from it and they maintain that, you still got money sitting in there. Like
Yeah.
you just building it back up. You have to build the equity back up.
I don't agree with
And
that.
this is why you got to look at your real estate
Why you
holdings.
just say fuck it, just like for what though?
But so if I'm in an investment, even
Well,
now,
let me
we
ask
talk
you
about this all
something
the
too.
time.
Let me ask you something too. The properties that you let go back then, what are they worth now compared
they
to what?
never came. They may be back at that value right now, but I would have been losing badly.
Money every month.
hemorrhaging like badly.
Every month.
Every
right?
month.
Yeah, if you're hemorrhaging,
So
you
those
do have to do something. But I'm just
Right.
talking about like what. So like I have an opposite experience. Some of the stuff that I felt like I had to walk away. Like if I still had it now, I would be well above what I paid and what I owe. I'd be a lot of the equity paid back in, and then I had tenants covering a lot of the stuff. I had maybe one property where it wasn't. It was like the
What
bad.
was your
it was like the
refi
bad luck
percentage?
property. It was back then 90%.
Oh, so you
So
go ahead.
So what I'm saying is though, like when we like a lot of times we be in this, especially when you don't know, like hindsight is 2020. I'm talking about stuff from when I'm like 22, 23, 24. Like, you know, I'm going through this stuff, figuring it out. And you have a lot of people saying, oh, you know, just let it go, just walk away. Like, oh, you're never gonna get it back. The market is fucked up. Fuck houses. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of people's mindset. So what I'm saying is, if you have an asset and you have pulled the equity out, but you can still cover your expenses.
Benefit,
I can have him over there pay all my expenses.
Right.
And keep my property. And when that equity is reestablished from someone else paying into it, I don't see why that's not smart.
Well, that's
a smart way to do it. Yeah, so here, let me say this real quick.
No, I didn't change the narrative. I'm sorry, Reggie. I just offered something that legit a lot of people don't understand.
But that didn't happen for the majority
a lot of people.
That happened for a lot of people.
I know a lot of people.
Probably not in your area that you invested in, but I know a lot of people.
Yeah, like you can't argue. So I can't argue your experience. I can't argue Reggie's experience. Y'all can't argue my experience. And when I dealt in a situation with a lot of straw buyers who were trying to be investors who did not necessarily know what they were doing, they were taking, it was like, you know, the blind leading the blind. You're taking advice from individuals who don't have the information.
Let's do the math. So what houses are y'all talking about? Let's because we can go to the facts, right? So what's the purchase price?
So,
you talking about the
purchase price before the crash?
Yeah.
Okay. Do 200 Glastonbury. It was $64,000.
So you was all in.
What is it worth now?
It's probably worth now today. If that same property is 2-car garage at the time, so we talking about 2000. I was 25. New roof, new windows, new completely rehab property. And that property today, if you were, exactly.
So so hold on. Your cash out refinance, your BRRRR refinance. I
had 90 when I refinanced.
90,000 was your loan amount.
Yeah.
Interest rate about.
Oh, it wasn't.
They was
like
8.5%.
I can pull that. It's probably like 6.
So let me ask you this.
That was a so was your house.
Was the tenant payments covering all the expenses plus some?
Yeah.
And so if you would have kept that house all that period of time, you felt like you could at least broke even.
Yeah, and then I had the one across the street. I was working on the one. The only bad property I had was one on the east side. Same thing. I paid about $60 for it. But today, that's over on Newport, 252 Newport. That's probably a $230,000
so let me,
house
today.
Hold on.
Let me ask you this. If you would have had borrowed 70% instead of 90%, you had more cushion and your payment would have been lower. You think you would have maintained?
It didn't matter what I borrowed.
She's talking about something totally different.
In that time frame, because you had everybody jumping off the ship.
Right.
And that was everybody's thought. And I ain't saying it was yours.
No, it wasn't most people's thought. The people that was jumping off the ship was losing money. So in her scenario she's giving, she was still making money.
She's saying the same thing.
No, she said she was making money.
She was making money, but she's saying she was watching other people jump off the ship.
So you can't.
So she was like,
hold on, this is why y'all mixing people up.
Exactly.
This is why y'all mixing people up. So in your scenario that you're giving, you were still, even when everything was dropping, you were still making money every month. Yes?
It didn't feel like it.
But,
no, we ain't talking about feelings.
Were you making money? That's
money was being made except for on one property.
The majority of the people that y'all talking about that was in this situation was not making money, which is why it was easy for them to jump off the ship.
But why weren't they making money is what I'm asking.
So because what Reggie said.
Because you had the blind leaving the blind.
No, because they were, because the reason they weren't making money is because the value had decreased and that the rental rate did not do what y'all saying it did and increase with that. It didn't. So because
if it increased, he said it stayed the same.
It didn't do neither one. It went down.
My experience, the areas I was working in, it stayed the same.
So I got a question.
So
I'll say this then. Okay, let's use y'all example as a scenario. If in that case, then that was not intelligent, right?
Exactly.
So,
but
in the majority of the cases that I saw, you were not making money.
But why?
Because you had taken the money. What do you mean why? Because you taking the money out.
Okay, I got a question.
What you mean?
If you had,
you did the BRRRR.
What you mean? I'm
so
asking.
We're talking about the BRRRR. So you took the 90% of the money out.
You're
that don't mean that you're not
making
making no money.
What?
Yeah,
if you can cover your costs, it doesn't mean that you're not making the money.
Yes, it does. If you can't, first of all,
all right, hold on. Let's stop. Once you borrow that money and you took out 90%, You
got
just
the money in your
accelerated the money
But
that
if
you
you
was
ain't,
gonna
if
be
you
making.
were, if you somebody that, well, so I'm gonna tell y'all something. I was a good investor, right? I'm gonna
Wait,
talk about
hold
me.
on.
Okay.
Hold on, let me talk about me. No,
Hold
no,
on.
I'm talking because I'm gonna give your scenario that you gave, right? So in the scenario you give, so I was a person that was my goal was 100 houses, right?
Right.
So when I got in investing in 2003, I'm like, all right, I just need to get to 100 houses. And you know what's crazy? I didn't even want a huge amount from 100 houses. I wasn't saying like give me $500-$600 a month from 100 houses. I'm like, just give me 200 a month, 200,
Right.
300 a month. Realistic, right? Even
Right.
though I was making more than that per house. But once you do the BRRRR and you're cash out refinancing to take that money out to go buy the new houses, y'all also got to keep in mind that everything was increasing. So you weren't buying houses for the number that you were buying houses for when you first started in 2005, 2006.
But that's why if you're
Do you
gonna
agree
do
with
this,
that?
these
Yes or
are the
no?
pros and cons of doing this.
100%. But
The average person not paying attention, like you said, that's what we was gonna talk about.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's my point. So,
So-
but hold on. So okay. So let's talk about because I'm not average. So I won't be the average
We're gonna
person,
talk
and I
about
still
you,
have.
though.
But I am. I'm giving a different scenario. So I'm saying I'm not the average person investing. I'm an investor that understands what he's doing. So I'm talking about from that perspective. So if I was in your situation, me knowing what I'm doing, there's no way I don't care what somebody else is doing. If I'm making money every month on my investment, hell no, I'm not gonna lose it. Why? You're throwing away free money. If I'm making $200-$300 a month off of my BRRRR, no, I'm not getting rid of my BRRRR.
Great.
Who the hell would?
Some people did.
So,
minute,
but the
hold
only
up.
way
But
you're
that's the
doing
point that I
We
was making.
missing-
Like, you have this thing where we start talking about you and how smart you are as an investor. And so what was brought up was during the recession, there are a lot of straw buyers. So you're talking about people who don't have any experience in real estate, who don't have any experience in investing. They probably got somebody putting them together saying, oh, you got good credit. You got good credit. You buy this house, you buy it from them, and then y'all take the money and split it. And then as the market is crashing, these people don't feel like they know what to do with the real estate. And that's the point that I was.
But they making money every month?
Not all of them were. She was saying in her scenario, she was making money. She only gave up because she seen everybody else jumping
and
off
not
the ship.
necessarily because I seen it, but then the advice. So yeah, when you're not experienced yet, and we have a lot of that going on even in today, 2023.
Way more.
There are a
no.
lot of people
It's
who
rampant.
want to be investors. They want to BRRRR. And all I'm saying is anytime you have real estate, you need to investigate and make sure that's something that you like. My only option is I'm going to walk away. To me, real estate and land is always going to be an asset, especially if you got somebody who can help you, counsel you, and help you navigate that property.
So basically, you walked away out of bad advice. You walked away out of necessity.
Right.
That's the only difference.
Yes.
And what
Right.
she's saying, her situation was different than yours. She only walked away because of how she felt and what advice she was getting, because it looked like the shit was going down, even though she was making money. I know a lot of people in her situation that was making $100 a month, and they kept their properties, and guess where they at now?
Because I don't know nobody who was making money.
I know a lot of
and
people. I
walked
was
away
doing
from
this.
it. Why would you walk away from it if you're making the money?
She just said she did.
But okay, so she's
I know
an
people,
example.
a lot of my people didn't walk away. That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know
saying.
nobody that walked away.
I
that
have
was making
legit
money.
But you said
homeowners,
it-
but you
you
have
said-
it all over the time. We all gonna know people that make. So, for instance, now this is not necessarily talking about BRRRR, but I have sellers who this is like their home, their
Yeah, I
house
know
where
a lot
they
of-
raise their family at, right? And I walk through this house. It's a beautiful property. They're like, we just want to sell it for $40,000. And I literally look at these people and I'm like, why would you let this house go for $40,000? I would love to buy it for $40,000, and I probably will.
Right.
However, when this was happening, we wasn't back like how we are now. This was probably like 2010
Right, when it
or
started to
11.
recover, right.
And so I could project that we in a space.
Right.
I probably should be buying this house. They probably should be holding on to their investment. I've advised people with real estate more than once. You're in this area. You have this house in this condition. Don't just get your property away. But a lot of times people feel like they have to walk away from the property.
That's another topic.
It is,
It's
but
not, that's different than the BRRRR.
And I guess
So-
that's why we
Well,
got.
let me ask y'all this because this play into the refinance and the BRRRR part. All right, let's say you got a $100,000 house. That's the ARV. I'm just using that simple numbers. Let's say you borrow $50,000, right? Your payment is $300. You renting it for $800, right? So you got $500 coming in a month, right? Let's say you got the same house, but you get to borrow $90,000 out of it, right? But your payment is, I don't know, $700, and you collecting $800. So you making $100 a month. But you borrowed $90,000, you borrowed $50,000, you got $40,000 more cash in your pocket, but you only making $100 a month. You got $50,000, but you making $500 a month. Would you switch places with her?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm looking for my residuals. I'm looking long-term wealth.
Right.
I'm not looking for the short term.
How long would it take you to turn that $500 a month to the extra $40,000 that she has?
Probably 10 years. So 500 times 12 is 6,000. You said extra.
Would the market come back in
6
10
years?
But
7
would the
years.
market come back in 6 or 7 years like it did?
I would imagine so. But,
All right,
yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. We got some people that leverage 90%, some people that only leverage 60%. Same scenario. You saying you walked away, but some people didn't walk away and they kept it because
I
they're
feel
like
like everybody who didn't walk away did a good thing.
right. And well, the point, the
I guess
reason.
it depends on the area.
Wait,
I guess
but
what
y'all
Johnny
missing the
just
point.
said.
The
I definitely don't agree with that.
reason I brought up that scenario, anybody watching, write that down, is because, all right, I'm breaking even. I may even be losing $50 a month, but I got an extra $50,000 to cover that $50 a month. I could withstand this extra $50 a month for 4 or 5 years because the market may come back, right? But that's a decision I can make because I got an extra $50,000 the bank just gave me.
Well, it's important though that y'all
Right.
know
So
that
it's
with the
all about
50,000,
different
you
people's
making
mindset.
more than I don't. So I hear you, but it's really not. It's all about the facts, right? So
The
I
fact
feel
is
like,
you got an extra $50,000. Her scenario I just gave her.
So I'm
and
about
your
to. So I'm
scenario,
about to
y'all
elaborate on
got-
your 50,000. So if you had your 50,000 and you spent that shit like living, then yeah, you stupid and you lost, and you gonna
walk away from the house,
gotta
right?
reinvest.
But if you were somebody that was practicing the BRRRR method, you're making money on that $50,000.
Exactly.
So
but
you're
that,
not
that's
gonna
the
let
point
that
I'm
house
making.
go.
Or that's the goal. That's what you're
But
supposed
see,
to
that's
do.
the point
Yeah.
I'm making. The people I deal with, or the people I was dealing with, they didn't care what the value of the house was. They was like, okay, on this part of my portfolio, I'm only making $100 per door. On this part of my portfolio, I'm only breaking even. But out of this part of my portfolio, I got an extra $250,000 cash that I just got a year ago.
That you about to invest and go make another
Right.
$250,000.
So I'm talking about people that did this the smart way, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't see, okay, well, when these tenants move out, I can drop the rent $50 or $100. It's not gonna kill me because I got this $250 over here
Shit.
to help me hold on, right?
Yeah.
So and then guess what they do? When the property values start going down, they was like, oh, okay, I brought that one for 80, but now the home's going for 30. But I got this 250 to play with. I'm gonna go buy this one cash.
Yeah.
Now that balances out the money I was losing over here because now I'm getting 800, 850 free and clear. And that offsets those $25, $50 that I'm losing every month. That's how you supposed to do it, but everybody don't follow that. And we
Agreed.
just seen that with y'all two
And I just think
examples.
it's just a lack of education. And so I'm not saying like so obviously, if I'm saying there's a lack of education, we're not talking about experienced investor who floats around real estate and understands the ins and outs.
Right.
I would never make the decisions that I made 20 years ago today, 20 years later.
Right.
And when it comes to I like the BRRRR. I think it's cool because it allows you to keep your asset. And I'm all about keeping the asset and keeping the, it's like I sent y'all that video with the lady from Shark Tank. And she was like, I always overpay for my real estate and I don't sell my real estate.
because she talking from a different perspective.
But
She got a
still,
lot of
how she
money.
get there?
Well,
She
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that too.
So,
All right, so let's talk about some more pros and cons.
but so what you just said was a good one. Because this is
I
what
know
people
it was
may
good
deal
'cause
with,
I said
right?
it.
People are going to deal with the potential of. So I don't care. So I agree with what Janita said. I want to get all my money out right now. I don't
Right.
care about the 70%. I want to get as much of it as I can get out as possible right now, so that I can do what you just suggested.
Right.
Because if I'm only taking 70% out, that money. So I'll tell you the only regret I had was I had somebody that was willing to buy all my properties, 80 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
And I was like, "Yo, get your ass out of here! No way."
Yeah, you ain't listen
But
to
I think
agent's
that,
advice,
but
right?
No, she
even
wasn't
that,
the agent.
but
She wasn't
even
the
that's
agent.
not. So, like you said, you regret that, but that's what a lot of people still do to this day. Like they won't move. I don't know if that was an emotional decision that you made or what it was.
An ego.
It was a
Whatever.
lack of
Ego.
education.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
And
saying. Like
ego.
people still do. Like we 2023, we're all these years removed from the 2000. I call it 2006, but the 2008 recession, and we still have a lot of people making like those same decisions. Like the real estate is to me, is always an asset. Like you can always figure out something to do with it. Like you can start a business, become an AFC home, now we got short-term lease and rentals. You can fucking like, it's,
You can think.
you can build a
But
farm,
you ain't just-
like
here's the-
do anything
here's
with the dirt.
But here's the thing with
Pull your equity out and use the dirt.
What Shaka is saying though, a lot of people just felt that pressure of I got all this debt. They calling me to pay these mortgages. I don't even have tenants that's paying. I don't have this. And when your mind like that, you can't even think of other
can't.
options.
Shit,
You
when you're trying to hold on,
cannot.
and I was the person that tried to hold on.
Yeah.
Y'all also got to keep in mind that what happened wasn't normal.
Right.
You've never experienced it.
Right.
You've never experienced
No,
it. I've
no,
never experienced that before
And you
in my
feel
life,
like
right?
everybody else is jumping off the ship.
I didn't give a
then
shit about
I must-
nobody. I don't make no decision off of nobody else. It's all based off of the facts. What was
Right.
going on? I was losing money every single month.
Yeah.
Now, I was one of them people that was holding on. Now, when you talk about I didn't sell my properties at the 80%. Or 80 cents on the dollar. It wasn't ego because I don't have one when I'm making money. It was lack of education, a lack of understanding that you can. So I was like, man, I'm giving away. So if you had $100,000 house, you giving away $20,000. That's my equity.
Right.
That's what I work for.
Right.
That's what I was trying to get to my 100. So the other
But
part
why
of
would
that,
you lose it?
because you sold it. You
No,
sold.
I'm saying if you
But
let
you
it
still
go,
end up
so
losing the house.
That's what I'm asking.
Don't
So
tell them all
yeah,
this
so in
selling
hindsight,
sign.
that's called hindsight, right?
Right.
So, but at that moment, if you got a house that's worth $100,000 and you sell it for $80,000,
You feel like
we
you
just
took
had
a
that
loss.
So like,
discussion
look,
with Justin,
legit, I'm
right?
literally
When he said he had to sell the house,
I'm
right?
having a conversation with somebody right now that is probably facing.
Wait a minute. Did
Listen,
you already borrow the money out? Take the money out?
Yeah.
You took the money out and still didn't sell it for 80?
No. Yes.
You had already got your money from the refinance.
Correct.
You one of them people, dog.
Yeah.
Come
So,
on.
But that's what we was just talking about.
let
That's what we was just
So if
arguing.
you took
Yeah.
the money out already, you already got your money.
No, you did not. Well,
You refinanced and
hold
got
on.
cash out.
So
You did
this is what
cash out
Reggie's not telling
refinance.
y'all. So yes, you're gonna
No,
cash.
I'm asking you. I'm not telling.
I'm about to give y'all the information. So yes, when you cash out refi, I was cashing out refi at like 90% at back then. Shit,
All right,
some of them
so
motherfuckers
wait a
was
minute. I want to
100%,
make this clear for the audience.
10%.
You got $100,000 property and you cashed out refinance. You went to the bank and they gave you how much?
Hold on.
Just
So
give me an
I
example
bought the
real
property
quick.
for $50,000. I did a $20,000, $25,000 rehab, $75,000 into the house for $100,000. I'm doing a 90% rehab. I get my money back plus a little bit extra.
Right.
And then now you go do it again.
Right.
All right.
And the
So-
person
so-
came to buy it, and
so
you
hold
was
on.
like, "No, I'm
Well,
just
gonna lose
breaking
like
even."
5,000.
Well, let's get there. Y'all missing. Y'all like skipping so far over. So then, so no, I wasn't one of the people that was trying to sell my asset. I was
Okay.
trying to hold on to my asset.
Right.
So I was one of the people that held. Dog, you know how much money I spent
Right.
trying to hold on to these houses?
Yeah.
that was stupid. That was the bad decision. I should have
Right.
let go earlier.
Right.
But I was trying. That was
I
ego.
agree.
Ego was telling me, "Nah, man, this shit gonna come back."
Yeah.
That shit didn't come back for a long time.
And it still
so
ain't
if you
back.
was sitting your ass there losing $100. I don't care. You can say $100. If I was sitting there losing $100 on 15 properties every single month for 4 or 5 years, get out of here.
Right.
No, I should have let that shit go on day one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, yes, in hindsight, I can say, man, I wish I would have sold it at that 80%. What would I have saved? Only thing I would have saved a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? And then I would have saved my credit, which I didn't give a shit. You know, now
But if you saving money and credit, that's a win-win.
Yeah, it is. Now, hindsight again. Yeah.
Okay.
Now having that experience.
All right,
We
so
know,
wait.
We know people in this situation right now, and we telling them,
100%.
sell it before you lose it.
Sell it before you
100%.
lose it or repurpose it.
Well, back then, repurposing. So we're much more
back then we
forward
had
now.
adult
We are
foster
not.
care.
Everybody can't do adult foster care, and it's not
but
that
you
easy
can.
too. I want everybody
It's
to
not
understand.
necessarily
You can't
easy.
do
Wait,
it.
hold
We
up,
had
hold
boarding
up.
rooms.
Let's get back
Everybody
to
can't
We
do it.
had rent. Anybody can do anything
Rent, you
that
was still
they
losing.
put their mind on. But the whole thing is nobody had, like, everybody can do an adult foster
No, they
care and
can't.
everybody can do a boarding home
No, they
unless
can't
you
now.
got some reason that legally they tell you you're not able to do it. Then
And
yes,
there's limited
you can.
capacity. So
Your
some
limited
people don't-
capacity based on the financial counsel that you're going to get when you're faced with losing the property.
based on the amount of people that's out there that can rent your
You
AFC home or afford to
can
pay
do
your AFC home
whatever
or
it
your boarding
is
home,
you
it's limited
want
capacity.
When you
to
losing
do.
15 houses, your mind ain't even that
You
clear
ain't-
to come
And that's what
up
I'm
with.
saying.
And that
I
wasn't
get it.
happening
So
back
I
then.
get that part. It was happening back then.
No,
I
not
wasn't
like it is
mentioning
now.
Like, yes.
No,
but
it was
maybe
not.
it may not
It
be
was a
happening
lot
like
of bar
it is.
drinking back
But
then.
it
It
was
wasn't-
happening.
it wasn't no whole
Like,
bunch
I
of
know it was
AFC homes
happening
and-
because
no, it was
when
not.
I was in counsel with the person that I shouldn't have been in counsel that was some of my arguments. So it definitely was happening.
I think that a lot of
Like, you
people
can't
say
say,
it
like,
without
just like I said
understanding the
before,
process
you
to
can't
get
say
there.
what my experience was. I can't say what your experience was. I can't say what Reggie's experience was. But what I can say is, dog, all right, that's fine. Maybe it wasn't. 20 years later, though,
Hey,
if you
can we-
can repurpose your land and your asset, then repurpose the land.
you
Borrow, rehab, rent, refinance, and don't lose your property. And before you walk away from your property because you feel like you're underwater or you stressed out because you got all these bills, talk to people and figure out what else you can do
I
with
got
the
something
property.
to say. I got to. Hey, let's give a scenario.
Can we do the pros and cons?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is pros and cons. This is a pro and con of
Okay.
the BRRRR. All right, let's use Bagley for as an example
Right.
now. So right now, people are buying Bagley homes at a record number.
285 cash.
right? 285, right?
Right.
And most people that are from, so I'm not from Detroit, but I've
Right.
been like finally, the good thing about me not being from Detroit is I don't look at it with emotions. I look at it like I do everything else with logic, right? So logically, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, shit. You know what I mean? Like, but
Right.
I'm not from Detroit. You hear the people that's from Detroit, you just said it. When you put your listing up, everybody like, Rez, what the fuck you doing?
That's too
you're
high.
pushing it. You're pushing the market too high, right? That's
They
because
was
they're not
like-
looking at
they-
the data, right?
Yeah, they was looking like we was dreaming to get
Yeah,
that price.
yeah.
Like, man, that's high for that
But
area.
so to give everybody a perspective, let's say that 280 happens and now we have a market crash.
Right.
Not what we've been having. I'm talking about a
Real crash.
all out crash.
Right.
Now that $280,000 house that you just bought is worth what? 140?
190.
190. Okay.
Okay.
190. I don't care.
Right.
Use 190. It's worth 190,000. You $90,000 underwater.
Right.
What? And you telling me that I should do what? Hold on to it based on what's the logic? So,
Well,
so
you
this,
saying as a homeowner?
as a homeowner, as an investor. So, when I was an investor in this space, so I'm gonna say as an investor first. So, as an investor, you tell it because this you can relate
An
this to
investor
stock too, right?
decision gonna be different because you gonna unload and want to unload
But most
your
of these people
risk.
that are doing BRRRR is investors.
Right.
Right. So we're talking about in the BRRRR method right now. So as an investor, you just lost $90,000, right? In equity. Oh, actually, yes. I wouldn't even
I'm
call it
glad
equity.
you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because I got stocks that went down in value, and I'm still selling cars against them every week and collecting money.
That's a great. And we'll talk about that. I'm gonna bring that up.
The disadvantage of that is if I sell a car too low, it
Somebody
can get
gonna
brought
make
out,
some money,
right?
yeah.
But
And you
for
gonna
the
lose
most
money.
part, I'm watching the market, and I'm seeing, okay, I'm not gonna sell no cars this week because the stock moving up, or I'll sell a higher car based on a price that I'm comfortable with. But yeah, I get it. I see what you're saying.
So now you $90,000. Your shit dropped drastically. What happens when stock is happening? Actually, not
most people sell the wrong way.
No, hold on. So because the rule is to buy low, sell high,
and they do the opposite because of their emotions.
But that's the rule. When the market crashes, that rule is thrown out because they don't tell you. Part of all the rules that everybody has, nobody tells you about the things that you can't account for, like a market crash. Right. So when a market crash comes, there's no way that anybody could have sit up here and tell anybody in that period of time, realistically, they had no data to say it. So they wanted to say it off of anything else.
It's not.
They couldn't have said that. You had no data. You can't show another time in history where you can say that happened.
Hold on.
Name me one.
Hold on. It's not. I could wake up tomorrow.
Give me. Don't make it up. Give me the actual data.
I could wake up tomorrow and Boeing can drop from whatever it's at 214 or whatever and be 160, right? In real estate, you got a $285,000 home. You have to really not be paying attention for it to drop 190. Because that was a even though the market crashed, it was a gradual crash. The market was going down, but people were still getting out of their homes at like if they brought it at 285, they was like, oh, value's going down. We plan on moving anyway. We gonna just have to sell it for 240.
Explain when the values was going down. Tell me when.
You seen it when homes start sitting on the market too long. Then foreclosure rates start increasing. You see more homes coming on the market, and you like, shit, I'm competing with foreclosures, right?
Like
because at first, because at first,
11.
wait a minute. At first, let's just say a Bagley area, right, where at one point in time the foreclosures was as cheap as $30,000. You got to keep in mind. So let's say Bagley was selling for $150 on average, right?
Prior to the
at first, the foreclosures was selling for $120, $130. Then you start seeing them drop to like $110. But this was over a period of like a year and a half. So people, if you were aware, this is why you should still check the market value in your home, even if you don't plan on selling. Now you can consciously say, okay, homes are worth $150. We paid $140 for ours. Now it's getting ready to drop below $140. Do we sell and take our loss now, or do we wait this out? But most people don't know how long they have to wait it out, right?
And that's opposite of what you're taught. You're taught buy low, sell high. So if the market is dropping,
but here's
you're
the
taught
thing.
not to sell.
Here's the thing, and this
that's
is
what
why
all the books tell you, right?
But
you don't just walk away from it.
But here's the thing. You brought it you brought it at 140. You feel like, okay, now the homes are selling for 40 and 50,000. I'm gonna walk away, right? That's fine and dandy. That's your choice, your decision. Everybody that brought them homes at 140 that kept them, now they selling for now they selling for 285.
I just want to say this to y'all.
I'm just saying,
this is called Monday morning or Tuesday morning quarterbacking, because yes, we could say that now because we're equipped with information now. 20 years later,
we talked about that.
15 years later,
but the people that did hold because even the books. Hold on, wait. I just one thing. The books and the things that you're taught. When they're saying buy low and sell high, there is a space where they talk about holding.
No, they hold on, listen. They don't. Hold on, they do not. When they're talking about the buy low, sell high, it has nothing to do with holding. You're talking about a different book.
No, I'm talking about the buy low and stocks and making investments.
There is no such thing.
So if you wait a minute. So if you don't buy, if you don't buy low and then you don't sell high, what do you do in the middle?
But that's common sense.
But we were talking about people that decided not to hold.
But we're talking about people that could not do what the book said because there was no book written about what happened. This is what y'all not being real about. Y'all have to be honest. Like, so just being real.
crashed.
Bruh, this is the
The
first
market
one that
crashed.
we've experienced.
Yeah, but I'm saying
You ain't experienced one in your
but-
grandmama
but-
life. You ain't experienced one in your mama life, and I ain't never experienced one in nobody's life.
The-
So
Well,
y'all
my-
just
there
say,
was
so you don't have no data.
And
to
my
was a
say
mama
crash
that.
in
started selling real
70s.
estate in
The
73.
banks-
But she
so I don't know
did.
that you can
The
argue
banks
that for
fell-
my
But did you know that your mama had it?
Well, you can ask her.
No, I'm talking about did you know it?
But you just
I
said
said
you just said
haven't
what she didn't
experienced.
experience.
I said you didn't
But
experience.
there are books
I
that's
said
written
you
about
didn't
it.
experience that in your mama
It's
life.
always
You didn't
market
experience it in your
cycles.
grandmama
It
life.
is
what I
always
said.
market cycles,
Look,
and it is books written about it.
Can we get back to the subject before
Yeah.
we get? All right. So look, one of the benefits of BRRRR is if you're looking to buy and flip, right, and you make that money on the flip, whatever, say 50,000, you're gonna pay capital gain taxes on it. But if you get your money out 50,000 on a refinance, you're not
No
paying
tax.
capital
That's
gains.
a huge benefit.
So that's
the
a
biggest
huge
benefit to
benefit.
me. That's
the
the single
biggest
largest
benefit.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the disadvantages to BRRRR is getting the capital to buy the house in the first place, right? So the way it's taught is you go out and you pay cash for this property, you improve it, then you refinance and take your cash back out. Most people can't even get the capital to buy the property in the first place, paying cash. If you borrow money to do it, you're going to end up most likely only refinancing enough to pay off the money you borrowed. Right?
But you can go do it
But
again.
you may
'cause
have a
making
little
money.
bit, you may have a little bit of equity. So let's say you buy a property, $200,000 property, you go to a private lender, you get the money, let's say $100,000 to buy it and $20,000 to rehab it, but then you go BRRRR it. Now you can borrow what, 160 or something. So you pay the lender back and you got 40,000 in your pocket. So that scenario would work. But now you got to make sure your rent is going to cover that 160 or whatever.
Not necessarily
expense.
because you want to make sure that your $40,000 in cash is gonna cover that. I don't care about
Yeah,
that.
I know what you're
so
saying,
we talking
right.
about the 90%. I want to get all my money because I can go take my money and make
Right.
more money than anything else out there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So, but I'm just saying up front, that's one of the disadvantages. Most people don't have a way to even enter into the property to begin with. Right. One of the other disadvantage, which we talked an hour about, is the leverage, over leveraging, right? Because you can possibly get in a situation, and depending on your personal risk tolerance, you may not be able to withstand it if the market crash. Now you got these properties, you BRRRR, you took out too much money, and you spent all the other money because you went out flossing, and you don't have enough money to cover.
Living off of the other money, you got to have. So with the
Yeah.
BRRRR, I'm gonna say one thing about the BRRRR.
Right.
You have to have something else going on with the BRRRR.
Yeah, you gotta
The
have some
BRRRR
discipline
can't be how
too.
you live.
Right.
You can't live off of the BRRRR.
Right.
If you're living off of the BRRRR, you gonna fail.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The BRRRR needs to be a residual income.
One of the other disadvantages, or it may work out in your favor too, because the way lenders are, is once you buy the property, there's going to be a holding time before you can do a cash out refinance. So if you paid cash for this property, you fixed it up,
I got a
you may
loophole.
have to wait 6 months, 12 months before you can get your money back. Most people that are learning this, they think, oh, the day I fix it up and close and it's ready, and 2 months later, voila, I'm gonna get my 80,000 back. And it don't always work like that, although there are lenders that will refinance you sooner depending on how much equity is in the property.
That's what I was gonna say.
But on average, you may have to wait 6 months. And
You should expect that. When you should plan for 6 months.
Right.
When you put your BRRRR plan in place, you should be like, oh, it's gonna take me 6 months before I get
Right.
my BRRRR money back.
Because you may have one lender to say, we can refinance you in 30 days, cash out refinance, but we only going to give you 60%. And then another lender may say, we'll give you 90%, but you got to wait 6 months. Whatever that is and whatever you're comfortable with, you just have to be prepared for that. People think they're just going to fix it and then the next day call the appraiser out and we're going to refinance.
There's a loophole, but y'all gotta call me for it.
Yeah.
What's
But
your-
I'm just saying on average.
Yeah,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
What's your? I'm sorry. Go ahead. You want to finish up? Go ahead.
Yeah, because we gotta wrap it up.
So the
Other
other
people's
thing
money.
is we talked about, technically it's another way of using other people's money, but you will have some investment up front. Picking a wrong investment, like we talked about for an hour, can ruin you.
Is that what's
Because
happening?
this
No.
is not a method to use if you just gonna dilly-dally and be like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a land bank house and refinance it, and the neighborhood doesn't support any of this. Sometimes you can pick an area where you barely can even get a loan on a property. Because if the lenders see like both the homes on both sides boarded up, vacant, fire damage and all of that, you still have to choose your investments wisely. Because even though you got good credit, it may be equity, the market value may say one thing. There are some homes that lenders won't loan on. Some properties you can't even get insurance.
So do you not buy the house?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be looking in that area in the first place.
Shit, I'm buying
I
them.
probably would be buying it, but I wouldn't be looking to BRRRR it.
I learned.
Because I would know what lenders would think about that
Don't give a
before,
fuck
if
about
BRRRR was my method.
Right, I got you.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying, BRRRR was my
you
method.
need
I
the
want to
money
go
back.
in areas
Yeah,
where the BRRRR
I
is
think
going
that
to
is
work.
smart. So that would be the like safe way. Like if you can team up with a person who's knowledgeable of the area and you can have historical data where these have been like thriving. So yeah, you're gonna see dips. It's like the stock market. It's in waves. It goes up and down. But if you can get into an area that historically is stable,
Right.
those are really good. I
BRRRR
mean, like shit,
101.
we're literally as a group getting ready to do that. Like I think that one of the consensus was like, yeah, we're gonna pay more than what we want to pay for the property, but we're hedging our bet by
Only
being
10,000 more. That ain't a lot
No,
of
it's
money.
20,000.
I wouldn't have bought
it's
that house.
$20,000 more.
It's 10.
But here's
20.
the
Who's at
thing.
140?
But
130.
here's the other.
It was
While
130.
we mentioning that, here's the other benefit of
called
BRRRR.
Elijah.
What you can what you can do. So like that house that we're getting, if we was to do like an addition or something like that, and the cost was fair, it would increase the equity in that. So now we have a stronger position of BRRRR
sure.
because now we can get a higher amount on the cash out refinance if we chose to do that. So depending on the property, you can add value to it by making certain improvements or additions.
I done had my daddy tear down a house with a sledgehammer about that size. I could
It is a
probably
little baby
still
house.
get him
Not
to
out
do
there.
it.
They gonna come lock your daddy
Shit,
up.
They gonna lock him
They
up
gonna-
for 10 days.
Nah, they gonna be like, you ain't pulling no permits.
They ain't got no
And you
money.
right off the freeway. They gonna-
Anyway, that's a wrap.